What is up, everyone out there in YouTubes? This here be your old Grunkle Spoon, and welcome to my strange little part of the internet. And you know what? Today was a good day for me. I was genuinely happy, and I haven't been happy for a long time, and I thought I'd share that happiness with y'all. Let me start off by explaining my happiness by saying I was fired. And now I know what you're thinking. That might sound contradictory to being happy and being fired. But no. Well, in honesty, I wasn't fired today. I was fired back in January when I got back from vacation. And that came as a shock to me. But I stewed and festered on it for a while. But slowly but surely, I've been getting over the fact. And I decided that, yeah, that was utterly a good step in my life to be fired from that place. It was a dead-end job that I absolutely hated. I hated to be there, but I just kind of grinned and bared with it and stuck there, and just in order to make ends meet, to just do the necessities, pay rent, get groceries and stuff. But yes, now let me regale you with the tale of my being fired. And it's a doozy, so strap in and get ready for just some total ridiculousness, right? So, back in December 2017, I had been planning on going down to seeing my family down in SoCal. I haven't been able to see them. SoCal, by the way, is Southern California, in case you were wondering. I haven't seen them for about a year, actually. Yeah, I feel like last Christmas before that, I went down. And it was a great trip. Got to see my family, got to see my nephew. I have a little 1-year-old nephew. Actually, maybe he's 2. I'm so bad with that. Actually, yeah, he's 2 now. Got to see all my friends, and just had a great time. I got to eat In-N-Out for the first time in like a year, and that was phenomenal. Oh, did I miss In-N-Out, that's for sure. But most importantly, I had a great Christmas and a great New Year's down with my family, seeing all my friends. 500 thicker, nice. And yeah. And I was just gearing up, getting ready to get back to work. When I got back into town, I had a day off when I got back into town before going straight to work, just so I could have a chance to catch my breath, gear myself up for getting ready to go back to this job. And yeah. So I go in, I'm always the first person in the building, because it's my job, or, well, sorry, was my job to open the building up. Which just, entailed the basics of checking the perimeter, brewing coffee for everyone, making sure there was no leftover dishes or pieces. No more, no dishes that were left in offices or anything like that. I was an administrative assistant, which is just definition glorified, or at least here, a glorified golfer. Gopher done better. And so I get there every morning, or got there every morning at what time was it that I get there? Or got there? 6 o'clock is, or like 6:30 is when I get there, and I actually start at 7. But I was just always like 30 minutes early, just because I would take the bus to work, because it was just easier that way for me. And yeah, so get there, and as soon as I get there, usually I just immediately start brewing coffee just so I could have some coffee that early in the morning. Like, technically, I shouldn't be even doing anything until 7 o'clock when I start. But, just because I'm not being paid for it. But I'm like, why not just do this stuff early so I could have a bit more time to myself before anyone else gets here? Because no one else would ever really be in the building until, like, 7 o'clock. Or later, throughout the morning. So I pretty much just owned the office by myself, and that was always a nice feeling, because then I didn't have to deal with any of these vultures that I worked with, because they were nothing further, nothing more than just vultures, ambulance chasers. They were just total jerks. And I'm sitting there in the kitchen where we brew the coffee, having a cup myself, have my headphones in, and reading a book, just relaxing like I normally do. And then all of a sudden, I see someone in the office, one of my bosses in the office, like way earlier than he ever would normally show up. And I see him kind of running down the hall frantically. And I'm like, what's going on? That's weird. So I poke my head out of the kitchen, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, hey, cool. Can you follow me real fast in the small conference room? I need you to help me with something. And I'm like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Like, because I was just that kind of guy. I would always be there for them, help them out as much as they needed whenever I could. Just because, that's the kind of person I am. And I'm expecting him, because in the small conference there's a door that leads outside. And I was assuming, like, oh, he probably needs me to help him bring something in through that door. Or, like, that would have been the only thing, because I've already been in the small conference room. And it was already clean and everything like that. So I'm like, oh, they don't have to worry about that this morning. And he's like, actually, it's not really good news. I'm here to fire you. And I just kind of sat there, blank stare, and I didn't say a word. He's like, yeah, we've actually been getting complaints from the chef, because we have a chef in the office that makes lunch every day, that you haven't been cleaning the kitchen right, or doing just a number of just like random tasks that were not my job, because like we have a cleaning crew, the chef, and I had like just a, what's this? No, that's just, I don't know what that was. It's gone forever. It doesn't matter. Like, we had a great rapport. We were really good friends. We'd hang out. She gave me a bunch of wine a bunch of wine to bring down to my mom, because my mom loves wine. And she also was the head chef at a winery. So it was really good wine, too. And, like, this wasn't like a middly amount. This was like, she gave me like close to like at least $100 worth of wine to bring down to my mom. And this was like pretty much right before I left. And he's like, yeah, also, like, this has nothing to do with your vacation. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, well, it better not have to do anything with my vacation, because I've had that planned. Everyone in the office knew that I was like going on vacation. I've been talking about this for months. I had my request in to go on vacation for months. Like, everyone knew. And he's like, yeah, do you have any questions? And I'm just kind of like sitting there in shock and confusion. And I'm just like, no, can't think of anything. Just signed my paperwork to be on my way, and got back on the bus, and I went home. And that was kind of that. And I was just on the bus, I was just numb to just the fact that I'd just been fired. I've never been fired before in my entire life. I thought I was doing a fantastic job, or at least a decent enough job, because that job, anyone could do that job. And clearly these people thought otherwise. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, this is highly suspect and confusing, because I guess I need to back up a little bit more. Before I had left on my trip, like the day before, like my last day in the office before my vacation, my boss, like my immediate boss, not the one who fired me, he's like, hey, so how are you getting to the airport tomorrow? I'm like, oh, I'm just probably going to get like an Uber, rather not just park my car in long term and have to pay a huge amount besides. It'd probably end up being the same amount if I, or actually substantially less, if I took an Uber there, then left my car in long-term parking. It's like, oh, don't do that. I'll give you a ride. I'll pick you up in the morning, and I'll give you a ride to the airport. And then I'll pick you up when you come back, too. And I'm like, sure, that'd be great. I'd love that. And next morning, picks me up, have a great time. We stop and get coffee real fast, just have a chat. He's like, oh, what are you guys, or what are you planning on doing once you get down to SoCal? As soon as you get down there, just telling him my whole plans for everything. Really, it's gonna be great. And it's like, well, yeah, can't wait to see you back on the 4th, which was the 4th of December, which when I was scheduled to be back. And I fly back in on the 3rd, and I still have until the 4th off. Like I said, I wanted some time to decompress from having a great time. And boss man picks me up from the airport, talk about the trip, and no, actually that was a bad idea. No. City and everywhere. Talk about the trip. He's like, oh yeah, office was crazy without you. Really missed you. Blah, blah, blah. Well, can't wait to see you. See you tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, sure, totally. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And then tomorrow comes, and like I said, they let me go. And I was like, this is really weird. I don't understand why my boss didn't even mention anything. Nothing was said. This was like a super weird firing too, I feel. Like, just the sheer fact that it was only me and one other person, like me and my manager. There's usually at least 2 people, like, normally I feel, that do the exit interviews. And just like that, I was done. I was no longer part of the company. And I was just like, wow, I feel like my boss could have said something to me to prepare me a bit more for just the fact that I was going to be fired. But no, like, he even picked me up and dropped me off and picked me up. And that's a very, I'm trying to think, like, it's a very intimate kind of thing to do, is pick someone up from the airport or drop someone off at the airport, because that can just be utter chaos and misery to do that. And I was like, well, I guess now that I'm home early, I guess I can do some grocery shopping that I didn't do when I got back, which would have been the smart thing. But I got back late that night, so I just kind of went right to bed, and then just hung out in my apartment and did nothing that next day. So I'm like, well, I guess now I could at least do some grocery shopping. So I got to my car, and my battery to my car was dead. And I was like, oh, okay. So this has gone from bad to worse. I now have a dead battery and I can't go grocery shopping. I can't do anything. So I text my my former immediate supervisor, and I'm like, "Hey, man. So I'm sure you know what's up. I have one favor to ask you. Do you think it'd be possible if you would be able to just like swing by later today and give my car a jump start because my battery's dead and I need to go grocery shopping?" He's like, "Yeah, man, sure, totally. I'll give you a call when I can. We needed to talk anyways." And I'm like, "Okay, great, thanks." A day goes by. I never hear from him. I give him a couple texts, a couple calls, and he is just ghosting me. He is not returning anything that I send him. So he just straight up, I don't even know. It's absolutely ridiculous and unprofessional. That's all I gotta say about that. But that was just really weird. And so while I'm sitting, waiting to hear back from my manager, former manager, I'm getting texts from like everyone in the office because I was really good friends with everyone in there, other than management apparently. Everyone's like, "Dude, what happened? Why'd you get fired? What's going on?" And I told them, I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of came in, started my day as normal, and then before anyone else came in the office, they said, 'You're good to go,' and that was that." And they're like, "Dude, that's really shady. That's really suspect. That's weird." And I'm like, "Yeah, but what are you gonna do? I guess." And I was already looking at this as like a good thing because, like I said, I hated being there. I was like feeling physically ill to just to be there during my shifts, and I would do all I could, I would take all I could to finally be able to, or just not be finally able to, but to be able to make it out of there like alive. I feel kind of a worm. And my really good friend there in the office, he's like, "I think you might have been fired because you didn't come back when you were supposed to. You're supposed to come back on the 3rd. I'm like, "No, nope. I was supposed to come back on the 4th. I double-checked that with everyone before I left that day on my day before my vacation." He's like, "No, let me pull up the calendar for people who were gone and out on vacation." And he's like, "Nope, you see right here, it says you're supposed to be back on the 3rd. And I looked, and it was not me, because funny enough, there's another guy in the office whose name also was the same as mine, like same spelling as first name and same last initial as mine. And he's like, "Wait a minute, this is super weird. You're not even on the people who were going to be on vacation list thing, like out of the office list thing." And I'm like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." Like everyone knew. It was on my boss's desk. It had been checked off by the his boss to say like, "Yep, he's gonna be out of the office. We have everything cleared. This is who's covering his stuff, his duties. This is everything." And so the way it looks was I was fired before I left on vacation. Like on paper, I was already no longer part of the company as soon as I left that day for vacation. Like they're like, "We're done with this guy," just for whatever reason. And all I can think of, looking back now, onto the whole reason why I was fired, it was ridiculous internet ridiculous office politics. Like, there's this one lady who just for no reason had it out for me. Like, she told me, like, no matter what you do for me, it's wrong. And we started off good. And then just out of nowhere, stuff changed. And she was just never happy with anything I did in the office. She was the only one who ever complained about me, so the whole reason of the chef was complaining about you, get some complaints from the chef, that was all total made up. That was all her, and they just didn't have, I don't even know what to call it, like chutzpah, to say, oh yeah, we're firing you because this one person who is not in management just doesn't like you. And yeah, so that was that. But hey, that was just a very strange, weird year, because I was only there for about a year. Oh, almost two actually. And yeah, so that is that. I no longer work there. I was fortunately able to find another job, like, within a week of being fired from there, so that was good. I was able to pay rent and buy food again. And funny enough, I got the job through a friend of mine who worked at the office also. It was like, hey, call up this place and tell them I sent you, and everything should be good. And I'm like, yeah, sure, totally. So, called them up. Or, like, well, at first I had to actually, like, physically apply. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy told me about this job. And like, oh, him? We loved him. Yeah, totally. You can start next Monday. And I'm like, oh, that was, well, I did an interview. I interviewed very well. And they're like, yeah, you can totally start next Monday. And that was that. It was such a brief time of being unemployed that I wasn't even able to, like, apply for unemployment. But yeah, I feel like this video has been rambling on for quite some time now, and I just had to get that nonsense off my chest, because it was just nonsense. But it was a good thing that they terminated me as they did, because, like I said, I really did not like being there after a year and some change. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. We're gonna call it for now. I have been feeling really kind of down as of late, and I need to be in a good headspace sometimes in order to record videos, so that's where I've been. It's because I hated that job so much. I have not just been able to bring myself to record, and anything I recorded, I hated. So hopefully going forward, starting now, I'll be able to bring you a lot of stuff again. I have plans, big ideas, stuff in the works. Well, yeah. So, thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys made it all the way through this video, thank you so much. And of course, have a good day.